Okay, so guys, welcome back. Welcome back to the channel. And yeah, last time what happened was I actually fell asleep. But it doesn't matter. Or does it matter when all we're doing was listening to music? I guess that was the reason why I fell asleep, because I was just listening to music. This same music here is quite relaxing, by the way. Anyway, guys, we're back, and as always, hope you guys are having a great day, and hope you guys enjoy the music that is playing right now. And for those asking, if you're wondering, the music is all the music I'm playing, they're from no copyright sounds. If you are interested in listening to everything they have in their collection, the link is in the description of the video or the live stream. If you're watching in YouTube or in Rumble. If you're watching in Twitch, yeah, there is no description when you are watching in Twitch. Although the VOD of the stream can have descriptions, but the actual live stream, well, you can't have a description in the actual live stream. Okay, I'm going to add another source window capture.
began with a new art form. Makes me feel I belong to something.
Okay, so I just turned that into an inset so I could, what do you call this? Use the main screen for some. There you go. Nice. Anyway, let's see what's happening. This is interesting from Luke Stevens Live. Former Elder Scrolls lore master explains why he left from PC. Okay, so I've seen a video talking about this yesterday, but let's go and listen to what Luke Stevens had to say about it.
I did not see this coming. PC Gamer, they just did an interview with the former lore master of Elder Scrolls. Now, it's no mystery that over the last few years, a lot of people that were pretty important to Bethesda have left. We've looked at interviews from a lot of them. Like the one we reference all the time is Will Shen, who was the senior quest designer on Starfield. And he has done multiple talks and interviews talking about his process and also what changed within Bethesda over the years, because he worked on a lot of stuff back in the day, all the way forward through Starfield. And with this individual that we're going to be referring to today, he's a guy named Kurt Kurlman. He specifically talked about his experience within Bethesda and what led him to leave after 20 years. This is a guy that worked on Fallout 3. He worked on Redguard. I mean, he is an OG. You probably recognize him from like some of the documentaries that they did, from some of the dev interviews and stuff they did around Fallout 4 and Fallout 76. I mean, he's an OG, okay? This is a guy that actually knows what he's talking about, is a pretty big deal within this community, okay? As you can see, this is a great article put together by Samuel Horty over at PC Gamer. They've been doing a really good job recently, and they landed this interview, which is very, very interesting, okay? So a couple of very interesting revelations in this, though, that I did not know about before, okay? Because he has direct knowledge. This is not he said, she said. He has direct knowledge of things that were promised to him by Todd. Things that Todd said were going to happen, things that he expected, things that were in the pipeline and that were being produced, and then something changed. Very interesting, okay? Because this is about to piss you off, okay? Are you ready? Are you ready? just be prepared, because most people who have read this leave frustrated, okay? So let's see. Kurt Kurlman, the longtime Elder Scrolls lore master, hasn't revealed why he left Bethesda in 2023 after more than 20 years until now. His departure didn't make headlines, but it rumbled those who know the series best. Michael Kirkbride, who worked alongside Kurlman on Morrowind and Oblivion, wrote at the time that, quote, Kurt was the best writer the Elder Scrolls ever had. His leaving will be the creative detriment of the Elder Scrolls 6. That's not great. That's not great. When people
if the guy who wrote
this is bad, especially
Skyrim,
a common complaint is that Elder Scrolls and
left,
Starfield, like the
although
quality has been dropping, and now like according
what happens now? What happens
the
next?
best writer they've ever had.
Oh, they got the writer from Veilguard. Yeah, so yes, the Elder Scrolls 6 is in safe hands because
That sounds familiar.
they got the writer or writers from Veilguard.
PUBG Mobile and PC.
So the writer that the writer that was involved in Skyrim, and someone said the best writer in Bethesda left,
Last Sentinel game. Do you guys remember this
but
one?
he got replaced by writers of the Veilguard.
Director
Amazing,
game. It was
amazing.
You remember this?
The future is great for the Elder Scrolls series.
Describe it. The vibes were there, though. The vibes were there. Yeah, they announced this back in 2023 and then just went silent. Yeah, this this. You remember this? Remember this? I think it was Game Awards 2023 is when it was shown off. So this is where he's working now, okay? Kind of a crazy pivot, honestly. Like, kind of wild, but props to him. So he said there were some things that had been going on for a long time that I'd not been super happy with. Some were an inevitable result of Bethesda's boom years, with hundreds of developers across multiple studios making Starfield. Communication sometimes broke down and developers felt disconnected from senior management, he said. This again is a very, very common thread whenever you look at any interviews related to Bethesda, related to the development of Starfield. It's a very, very common thing. Again, there were multiple moments where Will Shen, when he talked in this GDC presentation, he talked about, this is him, he talked about how he would go and see Todd maybe once a week. This is senior quest designer, and he saw Todd like once a week in a meeting. And that was it. There was like no oversight. There was no active communication. Like he saw him once a week if Todd made it to that meeting, which sometimes he wasn't able to because he's stupid busy, because he's an executive producer on another company's massive game. And he's also like working on the Fallout show and all this. And this is all while the team is skyrocketing in size exponentially. Again, Skyrim, they had like 115, 120. By Starfield, they were 550 across everything that worked on that game. It was massive jump, but the infrastructure wasn't there. And so communication completely broke down, which Coleman points out is a frustration. That's also something, again, that many other people have said as well, is as the company got bigger, communication suffered, and then it didn't feel like they were making games the way that they made games anymore. It felt like they were just checking off boxes in their task management software. But there's another reason, and it's linked to a promise. This is another reason he left the company, and it's linked to a promise that Todd, praise be, everybody praise him. It's linked to a promise that Todd made to Kuhlman. Have I been saying Kurlman the whole time? I'm so sorry, Kurt. I might be dyslexic. I don't know what's happening. It's Kurt Kuhlman. Not Kurlman. I'm sorry. I'm the worst. Cancel me. I don't care at this point. Cancel me. I'm sorry. So it's linked to a promise that Todd made to Kuhlman about the Elder Scrolls 6. A promise, he says, that was never fulfilled. What is this promise? This is where you're going to probably get like a little peeved, okay? Buckle up. If you have pillows, put them on your hands. Get ready for the face palm, okay? Kuhlman's tenure at Bethesda was split in two. As a junior designer in 1996 and 1997, he worked on Elder Scrolls II Daggerfall and Elder Scrolls Adventures Redguard, and pre-production on Morrowind. He returned in 2003 and was involved in every major Bethesda game after that point, including as co-lead designer on Skyrim and as a lead systems designer on Starfield. That's where you might recognize him from some of those like documentaries and stuff, like these videos, which largely are from like Starfield promotional stuff. He goes on. He became the Elder Scrolls lore master because of his longevity at the studio and his shaping of Tamriel's history. When ZeniMax Online Studios began making the Elder Scrolls Online, Kuhlman was assigned to field lore questions. He's literally the person they put in charge of the lore. He was the guy. Over his 2-decade second run, Bethesda ballooned and its culture changed, he says, particularly after Skyrim. In the early days, it was a close group of developers, including Todd Howard, in a basement office making decisions and eating in the canteen together, he says. But new offices opened and other studios were founded or were folded in by owner ZeniMax Media, including Battlecry Studios and Escalation, both in 2018. ZeniMax was itself bought by Microsoft in 2021. These would, of course, become, I believe, Bethesda Game Studios Austin, and Escalation, I believe, was Montreal. I think Escalation Studios. No, they are Dallas. That's it. They're Dallas. Okay. So Montreal is a separate thing. But yeah, those two studios, Battlecry and Escalation, were Austin and Dallas, I believe. ZeniMax itself was bought by Microsoft in 2021. By the time Starfield shipped in 2023, quote, it's 4 remote studios all working together on a game. When you get to that size, you can't have people just popping into Todd Howard's office to chat about a design point. He's not having lunch with everybody. It's very different when it's 400 people, 4 big studios, big business, and Microsoft is now involved. Size brought problems. Decisions that on Oblivion would have been made on the spot after a face-to-face conversation were instead filtered through layers of management. Sometimes developers couldn't even work out who had made those decisions, Kuhlman says. He also describes communication breakdowns during Starfield's development, where teams didn't understand what they were supposed to be doing. Quote, or, there would be people talking to the leads in one studio and getting an answer, and people talking to the leads in the other studio and getting maybe a different answer. Kind of a problem. This is why, honestly, it's kind of amazing that any studio that gets over like 300 people is able to put a game together at all. Honestly, I find it baffling and amazing. It's kind of incredible. You look at Rockstar, which is thousands of people. You look at some of these games like Assassin's Creed, where it's also hundreds and hundreds of developers. If you count everybody doing support work, it's thousands. Like, the fact that any of these games get put together at all is kind of amazing. It's just remarkable because there's so much like management over tasks and duties that it's just baffling that, again, they're able to get anything done at all. But that's why you need infrastructure, you need processes, you need to have directors that you can put at those satellite studios who are going to all be working on the same thing and completing the same vision, right? It's very difficult. And I think that this is one thing if your game and your studio is built up around a culture of volume and scale like that. It's a whole other animal when your studio was founded on a company culture of like intimate development, where if you need something, you get up and you walk over to Todd's desk and you ask him a question. He gives you an answer. You walk back over, you fix it. If you stand up and you're like, I need to know where this art asset is, or I'm working on the dragon fight and I think it'd be really cool if the dragon actually had like, I don't know, if he had red horns, because I'm going to do something in the writing about him having red horns. So I'm going to go over to the art department. I'm just going to tell Angela over there, hey, can you make this asset? Can you just color his horns red real quick? Oh yeah, sure. When it gets to the scale that we're talking about now, it's next to impossible to do those kinds of things. Everything is submit a ticket, just knock that out. It'll be fine. Just do it that way. It'll be fine. And it just doesn't work anywhere near as efficiently. Bethesda's growth and the problems that came with it were, quote, slow rolling change, he says, and predated Microsoft's acquisition. This is also one important thing that I think is important to stress. Again, we meme on Todd. But it's very clear, as his involvement dropped, the quality of the games also dropped. At least according to most people. Okay. Over the years, Todd with Skyrim was involved in the day-to-day. Fallout 4, a little bit less so. Fallout 76, way less so. Starfield, very much less so. Nowadays, it seems like he's not very much involved in day-to-day game development at all. Maybe for like big picture stuff, but not doing day-to-day stuff. As that's happened and his involvement has dropped, the quality has dropped. You can meme on Todd a lot. God knows I do. Todd knows I do. But as his involvement has plummeted, the quality's plummeted. He really does seem to be the guy that was making Bethesda games. Like we joke about, tell me sweet little lies, Todd, all that. He is one of the most talented and prolific game developers in modern history. And typically, the more involved with a project he is, the more successful it will be, which is why it's a problem for so many of these developers that as he became less connected and less involved, things just started to fall apart. It just didn't work. And these changes sound as if they're exemplified by how Todd's role shifted. Quote, Todd's a very good project lead, and fundamentally, I think he's a designer at heart, and he's good at it, obviously, if you look back at the games, Kuhlman says. But, quote, over time, as he got busier and every part of this larger and larger organization wanted him to do stuff for their project, he would get pulled away, end quote. Howard made good decisions, Coleman says, so when he wasn't around, games suffered. Sometimes choices made in Howard's absence needed undoing later. The way decisions were made wasn't the only problem for Coleman. As Bethesda grew, senior developers became more managerial and less hands-on. Skyrim's leads, Coleman among them, were also making the game directly, for example, writing and building quests. But by Starfield, the leads overseen by Howard included the leads of entire studios. It felt, quote, more bureaucratic, he says. The expectation was your job can't also be making content if you're actually managing the scope of the project. Again, this bureaucratic anecdote is reiterated and stressed by Will Shen, who specifically says, what was I spending my time doing? Let me pull it up. Tutorials. This right here. Listen to this. Again, this is a guy, senior quest designer. He's going to tell you what he was spending his time doing.
Was being requested. And finally, we had to do a lot more tutorials. So I was in OBS Studio a lot making video tutorials. So on Fallout 4, when I needed to teach someone the tool set, I would just sit down with them and answer their questions. But now we were working with people from around the nation, sometimes around the globe. I often didn't know when they would need me, and I often didn't know who might need me or what they would need to know. So it became absolutely critical to do a lot more tutorials and how-tos about every feature of the toolkit.
Absolutely insane that a senior designer on the game is spending his days making OBS video tutorials on how to use tools and how to do stuff instead of, you know, designing. Like, it's one thing if you have to do that quickly because like you need something very, very specifically done and you're like, oh, I'll just film it real quick and show you. I do that occasionally. If I'm like, hey, Jacob, I need this very specific thing done in this video. Let me just show you what I mean real quick. I'll do that. It's rare because Jacob's really competent, knows what he's doing. And if I generally explain something, he knows it. But occasionally there's something where I need to be like very, very specific. But like, again, it's just the delegation, the workload being spread like this. It's just really bizarre. This is the other thing, again, reiterating the bureaucratic side of things.
Consequence, by the way, this is not a real Slack profile. I grabbed this from like Slack's website. So no secrets here. But this is an example of a phenomenon that happened where not everyone knows you or has a relationship with you, especially if they're from one of those outside groups who's coming in to help at the end. So your title became incredibly important. There are many people I met because they messaged me because they saw my title and they were assigned to work on something maybe that day and didn't know who to speak to, so they came to me assuming, oh, you must know something about this because you have lead in your title and it's somewhat adjacent to what I think you're working on.
Can you even begin to imagine being assigned to do something on a work day and you literally don't know who to talk to, like to understand what you're supposed to be doing? Like, again, I cannot stress just how bafflingly poorly organized all this seems to be. It's amazing. It's amazing to me that they frankly get anything done. But does it start to make sense why it would take them like a year to do Shattered Space when in the same time period, again, that they took to make Far Harbor, Nuka World, all of the other smaller DLC, like the ones for base building, all of those, they did all of that for Fallout 4 in the same time period it took them to make Shattered Space. Like, does this make sense, right? This starts to explain it. This is why, again, playing defense over this is just kind of stupid, because this is clearly insane. This is ridiculous. And they should work on reorganizing and figuring this out, because what we do know for a fact is that it's not working. And even some of the most senior talented developers at BGS are leaving out of frustration because of how poorly organized the companies are. That's a problem. And you should figure it out and work on it. But seemingly none of that's happened, because as more people leave, these stories keep coming out that is just more and more of this. I've told you guys, I've spoken to people that work at BGS right now, and all this is still very much the case. Like, yeah, no, it's just, they said, honestly, it's one guy told me, it's like, honestly, the job's pretty cushy because some days we just don't do anything. And I was like, you know what? Fair. And frankly, I believe you. Anyway, continuing.
Okay, so it means that the only one winning are the employees because they're not doing anything, getting paid for doing nothing.
As studios grow. He enjoyed leading other people but preferred designing. Quote, I didn't
Who is going to complain about that if you're getting paid for not doing anything?
to a scale beyond where I was really enjoying, or it had gotten to a scale beyond where I was really enjoying working in that environment. He continues, but what of Todd's promise? What of Todd's promise? Again, get ready. Get ready. Coleman says that after Skyrim, Howard verbally promised him the lead design role on The Elder Scrolls 6. This is after Skyrim, probably circa 2012, okay? Which was promised to be the next project after Fallout 4. So circa 2012, late 2011, he was promised to be the lead on Elder Scrolls 6 after Fallout 4. He says, quote, of course, after Fallout 4, we didn't go to The Elder Scrolls 6. We made Fallout 76. And then, even then, we didn't make The Elder Scrolls 6. We made Starfield, which became this extremely long project compared to the other ones. So from my point of view, I've been waiting like 11 years to be the lead on The Elder Scrolls 6. Quote, I was obviously one of the old timers there and had a lot of experience. Bruce Nesmith and I had been co-leads on Skyrim. If you don't know Bruce Nesmith, we've actually talked about him too. You can see he works on like D&D. He worked on all sorts of stuff. Worked on Daggerfall all the way through, but he retired in September 2021. Design director of Bethesda Game Studios, 17 years, 9 months. And then design director and oversee game design department while still doing a lot of design. I was lead designer for Skyrim. Again, he left during the work on Starfield. So again, a lot of the very talented senior guys leaving. He says, I was obviously one of the old timers there and had a lot of experience. Bruce Nesmith and I had been co-leads on Skyrim. I think most people would call it a successful project. That's one way of putting it. Perhaps understating it even. So I thought it wasn't unreasonable for me to think that I could be a successful lead on Elder Scrolls 6. It wasn't just my expectation. I had been told that was going to happen. And they made the decision, no, you're not going to be the lead. He remembers that being a quote unquote tough conversation and that Bethesda's leadership hoped he'd be happy with a different position. Quote, Todd said, well, we want you to have an important role in the project, but I wanted and what he wanted were different at that point. PC Gamer did reach out to Bethesda and they declined to comment on the topic. And Coleman says he doubts Howard would acknowledge the promise. Quote, and in any case, he could also say, well, that was a long time ago, things changed. And he's definitely right that things changed. And the role of lead on Elder Scrolls 6 is very different from the role of the lead on Skyrim. In retrospect, as much as he wanted it, he doesn't think he would have enjoyed it. Quote, and so they may have made the right decision of saying, I shouldn't be in this role. So they told him he'd be lead. They changed their mind, according to him. They promised him. Todd promised him that. And then Todd says, never mind. Somebody else is going to do it. And he left. It was a combination of this and missing out and his overall dissatisfaction with the way the studio had changed that made him think the time was right to leave, he says. He talks about these events without malice or bitterness. It's obvious that Bethesda and the Elder Scrolls still means a lot to him and that he enjoyed working with his colleagues on those games. If Bethesda was still the smaller studio it was 15 years ago, he would love to be making the Elder Scrolls 6. He even knows what he would have done with the game's story, or at least what he would have liked to do. Quote, I had in my mind that the Elder Scrolls 6 was going to be like The Empire Strikes Back, he says. The Thalmor and the Elven supremacists who were peripheral in Skyrim's story and ultimately wanted to control all of Tamriel would be the bad guys who come out on top, setting up the Elder Scrolls 7. He saw evil triumphing as a welcome alternative to the Chosen One idea that Bethesda often relied on. The player might have, quote, secretly saved the day, end quote, at the end of Elder Scrolls 6, he says, for example, by protecting an heir to the throne. So you've preserved hope for the future, but overall it looks like the Thalmor are on the march. He ultimately doesn't think Bethesda would allow Elder Scrolls game with a bad ending, and with the pace of its releases, a cliffhanger is, quote, completely unfeasible, he says. It's not a good way to end a game and say, yeah, we'll see you in 10 to 15 years. Fan theories point to Hammerfell and possibly High Rock as the locations for the next Elder Scrolls games. Coleman says he doesn't know where it will be and jokes that his friends who remain at the studio can't talk to me about what's going on. The series lore master is now, like all of us, watching and waiting from the outside. Every time we hear more. Every time we hear more.
Yeah.
Like little
The Elder Scrolls 6 is not looking good.
process, how things things run, it paints a very, very crystal clear picture that after Skyrim, the company started to grow and they started to do other projects that weren't initially on the list, like Fallout 76, like Starfield. And as it grew, and I'm sure the mobile games count in that too, and as it grew and grew and grew, the process for retaining the company culture fell through and they weren't able to retain it. And it started to grow into a bureaucratic corporate mess that a lot of the old school guys absolutely hated. And so they left. So a lot of those OGs that worked on Skyrim are no longer there. And that leaves just a couple of key big figures that are still there. In fact, if we look at some of those like early videos of the like roundtable discussions, like this is one of those videos where Will Shen was talking about the design of Starfield. He's no longer there. He's no longer there. There were some of these like roundtable discussions where he was talking about like, you know, Todd's there. Todd's not super involved in the day-to-day, where Emil's there. Emil's still there. Emil's still involved. And it seems like Emil will probably be like one of the lead, if not the lead, on all of this stuff. And you guys know how I feel about that. So no surprise. I would be cautious. I would be hesitant to get super excited. Okay. I think a company that is poorly organized will not work efficiently and will not be able to put out their best work. And it's sort of like a bottleneck on quality if organization and process is poorly organized and is not working properly. There's only so much you can do. You can have the world's best developers, as I think you had in many cases, like some of the best open world designers and best RPG designers in the world working on Cyberpunk 2077. But their processes were so god awful in the lead up to that game's launch that it was a disaster. It was a dumpster fire when it launched because they didn't know who was talking to who, and this was getting fixed by this person, but then that broke this other thing. And they had to reorganize completely and untangle the web that was their company's hierarchy and teams. And when they did that, all of a sudden it worked. All of a sudden the company like was able to put out Phantom Liberty, and it was like a triumph to show, no, we still have it. We just had to figure out how to get this type of thing done. And it worked. As far as I can tell, Bethesda has not had that Cyberpunk moment of, we need to change. We need to reorganize. We need to adjust, because I think they've done just good enough for so long that they consider it passing. And I think that's the thing with Starfield, is that it wasn't a disaster. Some people make it out like it was this total absolute dumpster fire. We joke about it. More than anything, Starfield was just meh. It was just kind of mediocre, which was frustrating considering the time they had spent on it. It was kind of unimaginative and just bland and boring. That's really what it was at the end of the day. But that's not the same as what happened with Cyberpunk. With Cyberpunk, that was so bad that they had to adjust. They had to reconvene and figure out, how are we going to figure this out? And they did. They did. And they came back. And again, Phantom Liberty was like the ultimate, no, we got it. We got it. We still got it. But I don't think Bethesda's leadership thinks anything is wrong. When they get negative feedback, you know what they do? They delete their accounts. So this is kind of hard to find and dig up because it's been deleted. Basically, Emil Pagliarulo, again, Todd's right-hand man, basically the lead on all of this stuff now. He had a long thread on X where he talked about some of the feedback of Starfield, okay? This was specifically in response to like the Shattered Space DLC, okay? The reason I'm showing you this as a screenshot, I will explain in a moment if you don't know. Newsflash, people on the internet are mean. Funny how disconnected some players are from the realities of game development, and yet they speak with complete authority. I mean, I can guess what it takes to make a Hostess Twinkie, but I don't work in the factory, so what the hell do I really know? Not a lot. This is kind of fallacious, okay? Again, I don't need to be a chef to understand that my omelet is undercooked. I don't need to be a mechanic to know that my car is not driving properly. You know, I don't need to make candles for a living to know that a candle smells bad. You know, like this whole argument just doesn't make sense. But he says, part of me really gets it. When you're a consumer and spend money on things, that gives you the right to complain about those things. I spend a lot of money on games every year, and sometimes it takes a lot for me to not scream into the internet's collective consciousness. I don't complain about games on social media for two reasons. One, I know how hard it is to make games and have too much respect for my fellow devs. Two, I work for a game studio and it would be uncool and unprofessional for me to do so. But sometimes I want to. Oh boy. Most people don't have these constraints and are free to post whatever they want. The internet is a glorious Wild West and I wouldn't have it any other way. And there was a time when I exercised that right freely. 5, when I was writing game reviews for the Adrenaline Vault forever ago, I was absolutely that person who would say whatever I wanted to about a game, good or bad. Sometimes the good was over enthusiastically too good, and sometimes the bad was me being sarcastic asshat. But throughout that time, I actually had no inkling what game development was actually like, how hard the designers, programmers, artists, producers, and everyone worked, the struggle to bring a vision to life and constantly shifting resources, the stress. This isn't me complaining about my job. I've experienced all these things and will again. It's the nature of AAA game development, but I also have a great position and I'm still gainfully employed after 21 years, a blessing considering the thousands of layoffs this year. I'm not trying to change anyone's minds because of the internet, but given my position, I can't not share the truth. And the truth is nobody sets out to make a bad game, and most game devs are incredibly talented. Even the game they release isn't up to par. This is absolutely true. There's incredibly talented people that actively work at Bethesda. It's like I said, it's a bottleneck when the process is not properly optimized. It doesn't matter how talented you are. If the processes are bad and you can't properly polish and refine and improve, there's only so far your talent will get you. You know, you have to have the tools to let your talent reach its full potential, right? So this is true. Amazingly talented people work on this stuff. Nobody wants to make a bad game. That's absolutely true. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't call it out and offer a wake-up call when something doesn't work out, when something isn't clicking, when something isn't fun, when something is boring. Gamers have a right to communicate that, as he's expressed here. And just because something is hard doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to critique it. If I go to a restaurant and I order a creme brulee dessert, that is a difficult thing to make. It's very hard to make a creme brulee. I don't know if you guys have ever tried. My father-in-law, he makes them and it's very impressive. It's like a science experiment. You have to really know what you're doing, be aware of the temperatures, consistencies, proper portions of everything, even down to the shape of the bowl you put it in, all matters for it. It's ridiculous. That's very difficult. But if I go to a restaurant and I order a creme brulee and it comes out tasting like scrambled eggs, it's okay for me to tell the waitress I need a new one, you know? It's okay. Even though it was really hard, I'm giving you money to do the hard thing. It's your job. It literally is your job. He continues. See, I never knew this before, but if nothing else, video game development is a series of concessions and tough decisions. There's that perfect game you want to make, and then there's a game you can make. Sometimes, if the gods smile upon you, those two games are very close.
At Kyle Parkhurst 1720 donated $10 through Super Chat.
It's wrong.
The head writer for BGS has the mentality, well, gamers don't get story, so don't even try. BC, he wrote a bad story. People hated it, and he's just been coping since.
Coping since? Well, I didn't even try, so anyway. That's certainly the energy that's given off. That speech, I'm sure he regrets doing that talk, because I think that was pretty disastrous, but it gave a very clear insight on the thought process, which is not healthy. And I think it explains a lot of their general approach with how lackluster the writing in Starfield was, because why bother trying? People are just going to spend time running around on empty planets. You know, they're going to be bored like the astronauts. Why even try? You know? And team is absolutely the operative word there. Lots and lots of folks doing lots of work, writing, level building, making character models, coding game systems, trying to schedule it all so I can get it done. And folks don't burn out, and on and on. So sure, you can dislike parts of the game, you can hate on a game entirely, but don't fool yourself into thinking you know why it is the way it is, unless it's somehow documented and verified, or how it got to be that way, good or bad. Okay, so just don't be specific. You can complain about it being bad or you not liking it, but don't try to offer theories for why it is the way it is. Okay, I will do that now. I don't know why, but BGS's writing quality, the exploration quality, all of the focus, most of the game design decisions, all have led to more boring, bland, and uninteresting experiences. I did skip 10, you're right. And I find it lame. I don't know why. I don't know. But I feel that way. I don't know why. I'm not a game designer. I don't know why. but it's boring. Okay, I did skip 10. But in order to get there, in order to get as close as possible to that vision, the team has to push itself harder and harder, often while dealing with devs being shuffled around or leaving, looming deadlines, and creative decisions you wish you didn't have to make. Yeah, absolutely. Lastly, chances are, unless you've made a game yourself, you don't know who made certain decisions, but who did specific work, how many people were actually available to do that work, any time challenges faced, or how often you had to overcome technology itself. This one is huge. So yes, love games, buy them, play them, and complain to your heart's content. It's sort of the nature of game development, game developer player transactional relationship. But just know that the game you're playing is in some ways a freaking miracle in and of itself. Normal people have come together to work for years for one goal, to bring you fun and happiness. So it helps to remember that. And them. Smiley face. Nerd with glasses face. And heart. True. Most things in modern society are low-key a miracle. This coffee I've been sipping on is low-key a miracle. The fact that not only did you figure out how to manufacture plastic, the dyes that go onto the cup to brand it, but also like the coffee beans have been sourced from around the world, transported here before they rot, roasted and blended into very particular flavors, and then it's been brewed into a coffee, and then a barista has been trained and learned how to combine different ingredients and milk sourced from elsewhere all together to create a coffee that I can sit here and enjoy for like $6. That's a miracle. But guess what? If it tastes like piss, I'm still going to be upset. It's still a miracle, but it's a miracle that tastes like piss. And it's okay for me to be upset about it, you know? It's a miracle that games are made. Yes. But if a game is bad, I still get to be upset about it because it's your job to not make it taste like piss.
Geronimo Torres 1 donated $10 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
The true job of a good leader is to facilitate the success of everyone in their command.
Yes, absolutely. And when it doesn't work out, the commander often takes the brunt of the blame because everything lands on their shoulders. This certainly feels like deflection. And honestly, most of what he says, I think there's a lot of good stuff in here, but I think he's missing the point of most people. And it certainly, in the broadest, scope, it seems to be an attempt to deflect criticism. That's what it seems to be. So people verbalize that, and he deleted his X account. Now, I'm not saying every developer needs a public presence on the internet. I'm not saying that. Obviously, if you want to have some privacy, I actually encourage that, frankly. I think that that's probably a healthy thing. If I weren't doing this for a living, I wouldn't have a social media account personally. I'd be disconnected completely. I do this for a living and I hate it.
I don't understand why they don't know or see
the impression it gives people
whether the game they're making is good or not.
Start deflecting it, saying, yeah, but it's really hard, or refuse
do they don't play the game?
with it or listen to it, and so you
They should at least play the game.
on Blue Sky.
I think if they play the game, they would know whether the game they're making is good or not. If they're having fun, if they can go through the, go through the entire game from start to finish,
I think the problem.
and they didn't feel bored, and it didn't feel like work or a chore,
But
and they had fun going through it,
BGS has
then maybe the game is fun.
more of the same. Frankly, I think they need that massive wake-up call that
Or they could hire game testers like the old days. Have game testers. I'm pretty sure they have game testers. But if the game testers are just there to,
okay, what are we doing?
test the systems, test the game mechanics, test the features, and they're not there to test whether the game is fun or not, then maybe they should
Wake-up call there. He's like,
add game testers that do that.
and I don't even care. Satya will give me a high five. Maybe that's what's going to happen. But until there's a big moment like that, I don't think there's going to be a lot of substantive change, because that's what it took for Cyberpunk. Again, CDPR is no perfect company. Like, far from it. There's no such thing as a perfect company. But CDPR needed that massive wake-up call to adjust and then be like, okay, we'll reorganize. And then they were able to put Phantom Liberty together, and now they're putting together The Witcher 4, and we'll see how that turns out, of course, when it launches. But that's certainly a big challenge for them, and a lot of people are going to be watching them very, very closely. But I think until they have that moment, nothing will really change. I don't think so. Let me catch up on these real quick, and then we'll finish the God of War thing. He took my thing.
Okay, so that was Luke Stevens live regarding the interview presented, or the interview with this Kurt Coleman by PC Gamer. Okay, let's go back to the music. Yeah, we have like 5 minutes left in the hour. This shouldn't exist. Dragon Ball clone. Did Yaiba copy Dragon Ball? I think Yaiba or Yaiba is a very different anime. Yeah. I remember watching it, but I don't know what it's about. Oh, look at that. LeBron James got defeated by... What team is this? Nah, the Lakers are cooked in a bad way. Oh, okay, what is this? Viva La Dirt League uploaded IOU Inception. It's hard to, watch Viva La Dirt League on stream because they use commercial music, unfortunately. How did I know they're using... I got a copyright claim. Starfleet Academy is cringe shipping fanfiction. What game is this? I made 108 million exploiting the entire economy with just one item. Million what? Real money? Or just fake money?
Oh You hurt me, you did, several times. It hurts to admit that we're no different. I find it hard to commit, but you don't even try. Still I'm better with than without you. Oh, I'm on it, I want it, but why do you seem to call in your eyes? I can't tell if you're here or you're out there. Do you wanna be out there? You don't need to be Prince Charming to me. I just need this to be real. I don't need no fairy tale. You don't need a killer pregnant for me. Ooh, I don't need no fairy tale. We run and go still every time. Whatever it is, I keep on trying. 'Cause it ain't hard to forgive when you know what it's like. That's why I'm better with than without you. Oh, I'm on it, I want it, but why do you seem to call in your eyes? I can't tell if you're here or you're out there. Do you wanna be out there? You don't need to be Prince Charming to me. I just need this to be real. I don't need no fairy tale. You don't need a killer pregnant for me. Ooh, I don't need no fairy tale. You don't need to be Prince Charming to me. I just need this to be real. I don't need no fairy tale. You don't need a killer pregnant for me. Ooh, I don't need no fairy tale. I don't need no.
Bittersweet and I'm walking slow. Sensitive, feel the afterglow. Looking for things that I can't control. Fear from my past, cause it always shows. Do I wanna try? Can I let it go? Running from the past, wanting to be sure. Chaos in my mind, constant deja vu. But every time it comes back to you. Whoa, I'm still falling. Whoa, but it tastes bittersweet. Whoa, I keep on falling. Whoa, I like the taste of it. I'm still falling. Whoa, but it tastes bittersweet. Whoa, I keep on falling. Whoa, I like the taste of it. Blacking out, afraid just fading day by day. I'm reaching out for someone who can take away the pain I feel, the things I haven't done at all. I've lost my way, but how it felt I can't recall. Do I wanna try? Can I let it go? Running from the past, wanting to be sure. Chaos in my mind, constant deja vu. to you. Whoa, I'm still falling. Whoa, but it tastes bittersweet. Whoa, I keep on falling. Whoa, I like the taste of it. Whoa, I'm still falling. Whoa, but it tastes bittersweet. Whoa, I keep on falling. Whoa, I like the taste of it. I'm still falling. Whoa, but it tastes bittersweet. Whoa, I keep on falling. Whoa, I like the taste of it.
Oh, look at that. Did not notice time over. Yeah, the time is over. Yeah. Okay, so going to end the album here. I'll be back later for with more music, I guess. And see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.
and now I'm right back at the start. Halfway through a bottle, baby, and nothing enough. I thought that I could keep it low. Take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before, so take it easy, take it easy. Thought that I could keep it low, take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before, so take it easy. And you know how to forget all the wrongs and every reason why we've changed. And there's a storm inside my head. It's getting me in trouble, baby, and I can't break away. I thought that I could keep it low. Take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before, so take it easy, take it easy. I thought that I could keep it low. Take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before.